Hi, it's me again. Welcome to the world according to Steph. Um, Spiritual Foundations, Part 4. I changed the name of these for a reason, and I talked about that before. The last one that I just finished um, had to do with what is physically wrong with me, because a lot of people don't even realize that I make mention of it briefly in Google Plus and other areas. And I decided it's time that I come clean and tell people what's wrong with me. Um, okay, so I had a broken neck when I was 18. Uh, he not only broke my neck, he did. My face was unrecognizable. I lost a great job in Chicago with Illinois Bell Telephone. That's what AT&T used to be. They were their own separate little entities all across the country before they became AT&T. But anyway, I had a good job, and the beating, the first beating that I underwent in my first marriage, destroyed that job. At any rate, that was my first husband who did that. I eventually, after he kept me a prisoner of war, and that's what I call it because it wasn't any different, believe me, when you have your head being threatened to be cut off with a rusty old axe in every single night, and you truly believe that this man is capable of doing it. You truly believe it. And not only that, he would beat me on a regular basis. I was always bruised, beaten up. And I couldn't have any friends. I couldn't talk on the phone, nothing. I was literally a prisoner. The miracle of getting away from him is going to be in my book. And believe me, it was a miracle, an absolute miracle. And I'm hoping it will give hope to other women and men who have found themselves in a situation similar to this. Okay, the second thing that happened to me, I created a course. Of course, I created the first one too. I married him. There was a reason for that, which I'm not going to get into in the video. And it wasn't for love. I'm sorry, but it wasn't. In a way, I was running away. Anyway, the second thing that happened to me was a lot of years later. Even though I'd gone through more beatings, I married another man who beat me. Not nearly as severe as my first husband, but nonetheless, he did beat me. And I don't know why. I'd been with him for several years before we ever got married. In fact, I had one of our children before we got married. He had never laid a hand on me. So it was a real shock the first time he laid hands on me and beat me. And that's why I had to leave him with my children, and that is why we were homeless, because I left Texas, and that's where we were living at the time, and I had little children. My daughter was just about ready to turn 2 years old, and I prayed. If I prayed, I did pray about this. I got on my knees and I said, if there is a God, I need help. And sure enough, I got help. I found a job. I found a place for us to live. And while I was getting that place arranged and fixed up so that it was clean and good for my children, and as it turned out, my husband, who had been beating me, wanted to work things out with me. So I wrote up this list that said, okay, here's your list of items that have to be changed. If you stick to this, then maybe we can get our relationship back together. We tried, but it didn't last. It just didn't last. And it's like, I will thank this man because he gave me 2 of my children, and one of them died a hero, or transitioned a hero. I hate the word die. We are energy, and energy does not die. It changes. It does not die. That much in physics we know today. Anyway, on with the physical problems. I've never been a big person. I'm teeny tiny. I'm probably bigger now than I've ever been in my life. Well, that's not true. When my son passed away, I was heavier then too. Anyway, the second time was my own chaotic craziness. I used to hang out with bikers and hippie types, musicians, but some of them were not that good, you know. Or I should say they were good, but some of the things they did were not that good. And I'm not going to get into it right now, but let's say that my children grew up with a multitude of different types of people in their lives. And probably why my son, both of my sons, were tattooed to the hilt. Anyway, the second time I mentioned before in my other video, I fell in my grass and my lower lumbar broke. And it was just below where the spinal cord is. But it was serious. And I didn't take it seriously. I had this idea that I would be healed within a few weeks, okay? Oh boy, did I live in a different world. Anyway, I was talking about what the technician told me about the osteophytes on my spine. And didn't they bother me? Well, yes, they did, but I never complained about it. Or if I did, I would just say, my back's hurting. And I would pop a bunch of Motrin down and try to get through the day. Well, I can't take Motrin anymore. I can't take any anti-inflammatory. My stomach will bleed. I'm no longer allowed. I cannot take anything like that. No aspirin, nothing. It makes me sick. Anyway, my back didn't heal properly. I don't know if it ever would have, to be honest with you. And I had a job to do. I had to get back to that job. So I had to go back to work with a broken back. And I had to make it look like everything was okay. I can handle it. Right. Well, I went back to work all right. And like I said, my first spiritual advisor noticed after about a year that I was bent over like this after 20 minutes of standing. And she said, Steph, please do something about it. So I did, finally. And 6 months after I'd been going to a doctor, all they did were x-rays prior to that. You can't see anything in an x-ray. Give me a break. I mean, that's what you can see, a broken bone. Okay. They finally did an MRI. It took my mother going with me finally and saying, hey, my daughter needs real help. Okay. I'm so grateful to my mother for what she did because I didn't know what to ask for. Today, I know exactly what to ask for. Anyway, they did the MRI. The doctor was in super shock when they really truly saw what was going on in my body. I had terrible insurance, just horrible. And like an idiot, well, I'm not an idiot, but I'm foolish, for I was back then. And foolishly, I kept that insurance. And why did I do it? For the money. It was cheap. Cheap. Cheap, cheap, cheap. You know, that was the most insane thing out of many insane things that I ever did. So I had to wait another couple of years before any doctor, any orthopedic doctor could do any real work on me. Well, when I went in, they did the first spinal operation on me. We prepared for it months ahead of time. I exercised constantly, tried to be in the best physical shape I could be in, which my doctor was real happy about. I had a new type of spinal operation done. I was the 83rd person in the Kansas City, Missouri area who had it done. They went in through the front and the back. I have a scar on my back that goes from almost just above where my belly button would be all the way down to my crack. And the front, you can't see that scar because I have other scars, so it just kind of blends in. They're not so bad anymore. Actually, most of them are pretty much gone or don't look that bad anymore. But anyway, they did the first spinal operation. Well, as I was recovering from that, it was a 2-year recovery, by the way. It was intense. My orthopedic doctor came into my room after the operation, about 2 days afterwards. I was coherent then. And he told me, he said, Steph, when I went in, what I found was amazing. I have no idea how you could even exercise, let alone walk. Apparently, several of my discs had disintegrated completely away. I didn't even have spinal discs anymore. Now, a doctor might say that's impossible, but sorry, it was true. Secondly, my spinal cord was, as he put it, flat as a pancake from whatever bone or whatever was there. It was just literally flattened my spinal cord into a pancake right down the middle. They call that the nerve root. And then, apparently, on one side further down, I had more compression. And then on one side further up, on the other side, it was compressed again. So in reality, I had 2 areas of full compression on my spinal cord, but I was still walking. Barely, but still walking. Well, after the operation, it took me a long time to walk again, but I did. Well, then, about a year after that, we discovered during that year time that, the neck, the cervical spine is a problem. He discovered right off the bat, just from an x-ray, by the way, 5 levels in my cervical spine were totally bad. That was just an x-ray. When they did the MRI, he was again in shock. I'd been going to a masseuse, trying to get all the knots out. I had migraines constantly. I was going to the hospital about every 2 weeks. I was a regular visitor. Yeah, it's a little late again. I don't know why it's taking so long to describe just these physical problems, but I'm sorry. I'm going to finish this up. Anyway, I had 4 more spinal operations, and they fused me from here to about here. Now, I move my neck way too much. I cannot move it, for the most part, in some ways, at all. I'm just not able to. It's full of metal. I have titanium in my lumbar. I have titanium plates and screws from my jawbone all the way down. And then I have no discs in my cervical spine at all. And one of my thoracic spines, I have no disc either. About 4 years ago, I had 2 car accidents, and that's very unusual for me. I am normally a really good driver. I grew up in Chicago. You have to be a good driver up there, let me tell you. And the second one, I literally passed out. And I've never passed out like this in my life, even with all the beatings and stuff, and the blood pouring out of my body. I still didn't pass out, but this time I did. Well, they finally got smart and did an MRI of my brain. I had a brain aneurysm. How about that? So they put 4 titanium stents, and I guess it's on this side of my head. I really don't know. And these titanium stents are about that big. I've got 4 of them in my brain. Yeah, I'm okay. I can still think. So I have that. Early in my life, I had some cancer. Beat that. I have severe bone arthritis, and I do mean severe. Remember all those bone spurs they talked about? They're not just on my spine. They're on just about every bone in my body. They've never seen anything like it. And now they're afraid I might have some tumors on the bone on one of my legs. I have these 3 hump-like things kind of poking out of my skin. I don't know what they are. We'll find out. So, and I have osteoporosis too. Who wouldn't? But actually, that's not as bad as it could be. And I try to take the right foods and vitamins to try to help me with that. So basically, and I have tremors. I suffer from tremors. They're not sure where they come from. They don't know for sure. A while back, I had a neurologist tell me that I have seizures. Well, she was right. I've woken up several times during the night, and my whole body is kicking away. Just recently that happened. It's so weird when your body is in control, but you aren't. So anyway, it's 20 minutes into it, but that's what's physically wrong with me. And I just want you all to know about it because a lot of people have asked me. Okay? I'm going to let you go for now. Thank you.